The monthly lunch with my parents at the Harbor Club was supposed to be about family bonding. Instead, it became another lecture about why my career choices were fundamentally misguided. "Michael, sweetheart, when are you going to stop playing around with computers and get a real job?" my mother asked, cutting her Caesar salad with surgical precision. "Working from home isn't a career. It's a hobby that pays bills." I looked up from my phone, where I'd been reviewing the final documents for what would be the largest commercial real estate acquisition of my professional life. "My work generates substantial revenue, Mom." "Revenue isn't the same as success," my father interjected from behind his reading glasses. "Real success means an office, employees you can see, a business address that commands respect. Look at my firm. 37 years in the same building, corner office on the 15th floor. That's what professional achievement looks like." Davidson and Associates Legal had indeed been operating from the Meridian Professional Building since 1987. My father's corner office overlooked downtown's financial district, a view he'd earned through decades of building what he considered a real practice compared to my computer work. "The problem with your generation," my mother continued, "is that you think technology can replace the fundamentals of business. But nothing substitutes for face-to-face relationships, professional presence, the credibility that comes from having an established business location." What my parents didn't understand was that my computer work involved building and selling software companies that revolutionized how businesses operated. Over the past 8 years, I'd founded 3 startups, sold 2 for 9-figure sums, and was currently running cloud tech solutions from my home office, a setup they viewed as evidence of my lack of professional ambition. "Your father's absolutely right," my mother added, gesturing toward my father's suit and briefcase. "Clients want to see success. They want to visit impressive offices, meet professional staff, feel confident they're working with established businesses." "Mom, my last client paid $47 million for software I developed," I said patiently. "One-time payments aren't sustainable income," she replied dismissively. "Your father has clients who've been with his firm for decades. That's what real business relationships look like." My phone buzzed with a message from my assistant. "Meridian Professional Building purchase complete. Deed transfer confirmed. Your parents' lease expires next month. Should I prepare renewal discussions?" I smiled, thinking about my father's corner office 15 floors above us, and the surprise that awaited them both. "Dad, how's the office building treating you lately?" "Excellent management, actually. Professional operation, well-maintained facilities. That's what you get with established commercial real estate." Tomorrow would be very educational for both of them. The next morning, I drove to the Meridian Professional Building, the 30-story glass tower where my father had been practicing law for 37 years. I'd purchased it through a holding company 6 months earlier, but today would be my first visit as the actual owner. "Mr. Davidson," the building manager greeted me in the marble lobby. "Welcome to the Meridian Building. I'm Janet Morrison, Property Management. I understand you wanted to tour the facilities." "That's correct. I'm particularly interested in the 15th floor. "Ah yes, Davidson and Associates. Excellent tenants. They've been here longer than anyone. Very stable, professional operation." We took the elevator to the 15th floor, where my father's law firm occupied half of the available space. Through the glass doors, I could see him in his corner office, reviewing legal briefs with the satisfaction of someone who believed he'd built something permanent and secure. "The Davidson firm has a 5-year lease that expires next month," Janet explained as we walked past reception. "They've already submitted their renewal application, though I suspect the new ownership will want to review all existing agreements." "New ownership?" "The building sold last week to Cloud Tech Holdings. I haven't met the new owner yet, but I understand they're planning some operational changes." Cloud Tech Holdings was the shell company I'd used for the acquisition, a detail Janet would discover soon enough. "What kind of operational changes?" "Market rate adjustments, mostly. The previous owners were quite lenient with legacy tenants like Davidson and Associates. Their current rent is about 40% below market value. They've been paying the same rate since 2015. We completed the tour with Janet proudly showing me the building's amenities, conference rooms, fitness center, executive parking garage, all of which now belonged to me, though she didn't know it yet. "Janet, I should probably introduce myself properly," I said as we returned to the lobby. I'm Michael Davidson and Cloud Tech Holdings is my company. I'm the new owner. Her face went through several expressions: confusion, surprise, then professional recalibration. Mr. Davidson. But Davidson and Associates, that's your father's firm? It is indeed. And his lease expires in exactly 28 days. Should I prepare the renewal paperwork? Let's schedule a meeting for tomorrow morning. I think my father and I need to discuss his professional space requirements. Janet nodded slowly, clearly processing the family dynamics she just stumbled into. One more thing, Janet. My father believes real success requires a corner office. I'm curious, what's the current market rate for corner office space in this building? The meeting was scheduled for 10 a.m. in my father's corner office, the same space where he'd spent decades building what he considered a real business, while dismissing my home-based technology work. Dad, I said, settling into the client chair across from his mahogany desk, we need to discuss your lease renewal. Of course, Michael. Though I'm not sure why you're involved. Janet Morrison said the new building owner wanted to meet personally, but I am the new building owner, Dad. The silence that followed was profound. My father sat frozen behind his desk, trying to process what I just said while the implications slowly sank in. You what? Cloud Tech Holdings purchased the Meridian Professional Building last week. I'm your new landlord. He stared at me as if I'd spoken a foreign language. Michael, this is a 30-story commercial building. You can't just buy buildings like this. Actually, Dad, I can and I did. Cloud Tech Holdings has a commercial real estate portfolio worth approximately $180 million. The Meridian building was our largest single acquisition. But you work from home, he said weakly. I work from wherever I need to work. Today that happens to be your corner office, discussing your lease renewal terms. Janet Morrison knocked and entered, carrying a folder of documents. Mr. Davidson, I have the current lease analysis you requested. Thank you, Janet. Dad, your current rent is $8,400 per month for this corner office suite. Market rate for comparable space is $14,200 per month. My father's face went pale. $14,000? That's the current rate for established commercial real estate in professional buildings, I said, echoing his earlier words about real success. Of course, as the building owner, I have some flexibility in lease negotiations. Michael, I don't understand. How can you afford to buy commercial buildings? The same way I afforded to develop software that sold for $47 million. The difference is that this time, I invested the proceeds in real estate instead of just depositing the checks. He was staring at the lease renewal documents with growing horror. What are you saying? I'm saying your computer work son now owns the building where you practice law. Your corner office, your professional credibility, your established business location, it all belongs to someone who works from home. The paradigm shift was complete. My father's symbol of traditional professional success had become my property, managed from the home office he'd spent years dismissing. The lease renewal negotiations took 3 weeks. My father struggled with the reality that his professional stability now depended on the son whose career choices he'd consistently criticized. Michael, we need to discuss terms, he said during our final meeting. The market rate increase is substantial. It's what established businesses pay for premium office space, I replied using his own words. Though I'm prepared to offer the family discount. Family discount? $12,000 per month instead of $14,000. Still a significant increase from your below-market legacy rate, but reasonable for a corner office in a professionally managed building. He signed the lease renewal with shaking hands, finally understanding that his real business existed at the pleasure of my hobby that pays bills. 2 months later, my mother called about lunch plans. Michael, your father mentioned you own his building now. I'm still confused about how someone who works from home can afford commercial real estate. Mom, working from home doesn't mean working small. It means I don't need expensive office overhead to generate substantial revenue. Every dollar Dad spends on office rent is a dollar I can invest in acquiring more property. But how do clients take you seriously without a professional office? My clients pay $47 million for software solutions. They don't care where I wrote the code, they care that it works. 3 weeks later, I received a call from my father's law partner about subleasing additional space in the Meridian building. Word had spread that the building's new owner was approachable and understood professional service businesses. "Michael, we're expanding our practice," his partner explained. "Your father mentioned you might have space available." "I do. Though I should mention that all lease agreements now include technology infrastructure requirements. Modern businesses need robust internet connectivity, cloud integration capabilities, and remote work flexibility." The Davidson family learned that success comes in many forms, and that sometimes the most traditional symbols of achievement, corner offices, professional buildings, established business addresses, are owned by people who never needed them to succeed. My parents' Harbor Club lunches became much more respectful after they realized their son's computer work had generated enough wealth to purchase the foundations of other people's professional identities. Real success, it turns out, means owning the office buildings where other people work. Home-based businesses sometimes grow large enough to house other people's dreams.